All right, let's dive in. There's a new kind of conflict happening all around us, and it's not being fought with tanks or jets, but with something way more subtle: algorithms and data. It's a battle for our minds, playing out right now on our screens, and it's all being supercharged by artificial intelligence.
It sounds intense, I know, but it's a question we really have to grapple with. In this digital age, you have to wonder if the most critical battlefield isn't a physical place at all, but, the space right between your ears.
And that brings us to this big idea: cognitive warfare. Now, this isn't just about fake news. It goes so much deeper than that. We're talking about a deliberate strategy to actually shape how we see the world, to mold our perceptions, our beliefs, even the decisions we make. The ultimate target isn't a city or an army. It's our very ability to think for ourselves.
So let's get into our first section, a new kind of war. To really get what makes this so different, we need to totally rethink what a battlefield even is.
Yeah, think about it. The traditional battlefronts, land, sea, air, they're still there. But now there's a new one in the mix: the cognitive domain. It's basically an invisible battlefield. The goal isn't to capture territory, it's to capture belief. It's about eroding an opponent's will to fight from the inside out, without firing a single shot.
Okay, Section 2, Propaganda's AI upgrade. Look, propaganda has been around forever, right? But what we're seeing now is a total revolution. The game has been completely changed by artificial intelligence.
I mean, just look at how it's evolved. For centuries, you had the printing press, which gave it scale. Then came radio and film, giving it a powerful voice. The internet blew the doors open, decentralizing everything. But what's happening today? Wow, it's a whole different level. AI makes manipulation automated, deeply personal, and constantly optimized. We're talking about a scale that it was science fiction until a few years ago.
All right, so what does this supercharged propaganda actually look like? Let's open up the toolbox, so to speak. Section 3, the AI propaganda arsenal. And arsenal is the perfect word for it, because this isn't just one simple tool. It's a whole suite of technologies working together. So first, let's look at how the manipulative content itself even gets made. Okay, so a key weapon here is something called natural language processing, or NLP. Basically, these are AI models that have read like a huge chunk of the internet. They've learned how to write just like us, and they can generate incredibly convincing articles, blog posts, social media comments, you name it. And they can perfectly mimic any ideological slant, flooding our feeds with tailor-made content. And this right here shows the massive shift. The old way of doing things was the broadcast model. Think of it like a megaphone. One message blasted out to millions of people, just hoping some of it sticks. The new AI-powered model, it's more like a micro-targeting model. It's a targeted whisper just for you. By analyzing everything, your likes, your shares, what you search for, it crafts a unique message tailored to your specific psychological profile. It's designed to tap right into your personal hopes, your fears, your biases. So how do these perfectly tailored messages get out there and spread? Well, that's where automated bot networks come in. It's a pretty slick four-step process. First, a bot posts the content. Then, almost instantly, a whole network of other bots likes, shares, and comments on it. This creates this powerful illusion that, hey, lots of real people agree with this. And here's the kicker, the final step. That fake popularity tricks the social media platform's own algorithm into pushing the content out to thousands, maybe even millions of real people like you and me.
And then there's what might be the ultimate weapon of disinformation: deepfakes. We're talking about AI-generated videos or audio clips that are so hyper-realistic, it's almost impossible for our eyes and ears to tell they're fake. They can make it look like anyone, a politician, a celebrity, anyone, is saying or doing something they never ever did. And that quote really hits the nail on the head. The spread of these convincing deepfakes poses a fundamental challenge to our ability to trust what we see and hear. I mean, think about it. When we can no longer believe our own eyes, when visual and audio evidence means nothing, the very idea of a shared reality starts to fall apart.
Okay, so we've seen the tools, we've looked inside the arsenal, but what's the point of it all? Let's move on to Section 4 and talk about the war's real target. Let's see how these technologies are used to achieve some very specific, strategic goals. This table lays out some pretty clear, if hypothetical, scenarios. Let's say it's an election. The target? Key voter demographics. The method? micro-targeted ads, and maybe even deepfakes. And the goal? So just enough discord to get people to stay home, to depress turnout. Or what about a public health crisis? You could target vaccine-skeptical groups with fabricated expert testimony to erode trust in science. No matter the scenario, the end goal is always the same: create division and weaken a society from the inside.
And that really brings us to the ultimate objectives here. This isn't about winning some online argument. The real goal is to weaken a country from within. It's about making people lose trust in, well, in everything. In their government, in the media, in science. It's about pouring gasoline on societal divisions and undermining the very idea of democracy. So, I know, the picture we've just painted is pretty grim, but it's not hopeless. Not at all. Which brings us to our final section: how we fight back. How do we defend ourselves in this new reality? The challenge is huge, for sure, but defending our information space is absolutely possible. The thing is, there's no single silver bullet here. The solution has to be a multifaceted approach, one that brings together technology, education, and good policy. It really needs to be a defense in layers. On the tech side, we need to build AI to fight AI, tools that can detect and counter this stuff. On the education side, we have to invest in media literacy, teaching critical thinking skills from a young age. Then you've got the legal side. We need smart regulations and ethical rules for AI. And this is a global problem, so we need international cooperation to set some ground rules. And finally, the social media platforms themselves have to step up and take more responsibility. Each one of these layers makes the whole shield that much stronger.
And all of this leaves us with one last, really big question to think about. In an age where reality itself can be manufactured and weaponized by AI, who's the guardian of your reality? Who is responsible for protecting it? The answer, I think, is that it has to be all of us. Thanks for joining me.